Okay everyone, welcome back to another diecast review, and today is going to be a first for me because I'll be looking at models from Diecast Masters. Now, I'm not familiar with this company. If anyone knows about them, feel free to chat down in the comments. But the models I'll be reviewing today are the CAT CT660 Day Cab Stampede Dump Truck and also the CAT CB-13 Tandem Vibratory Roller. Now, I'm only going to show one of the boxes just because they're both pretty much the same, except one's for the dump truck and one's for the roller. But you can see how the model's presented inside. That looks really nice with like the quarry or what have you in the background. Going around to the back of the box, these are the other models that are available. They have a roller with a cab and also a CAT cement truck. And on the bottom here is all this information. If anyone wants to read any of that, you can go ahead and pause the video. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get these models out of their boxes. So here's the models out of their boxes, and I noticed that the dump truck came with what appears to be a 2020 catalog. I'll show a little bit of that here in a second. But there was also what appears to be like a detail pack. I'm thinking this is just a selection of mud flaps because they're not fitted to the truck already. But the road roller wasn't really anything included with that other than the box itself. I'm just going to show a little bit of this catalog. I can't really show it all just because it would take too long, and I mean this video is supposed to be about the models, not the catalog. But looks like a lot of what's in here is 1/50th scale. I did look through this before. There was some 1/87th scale stuff and I believe some 1/25th scale. So pretty much a different variety of construction vehicles and a little bit of mining equipment, I think, as well. But yeah, again, can't show everything, just skimming through the catalog here. Again, there's the 1/87th scale stuff. I didn't really see any 1/64 scale models, so I'm thinking that like what I have here right now, that might be something new. Diecast Masters just recently got into 1/64 scale. Alright, so the first one on the turntable is the dump truck, and I can tell you right now, it is just barely moving this thing. There's a bit of weight in this model, it's mostly made of die cast, and I think that shows quality. But I was really excited when I first saw these become available because I'd wanted one of these CAT trucks for years, and there was all these manufacturers out there making them in 1/87th scale and 1/50th scale, but nobody wanted to make them in 1/64 scale. And I would have thought DCP had picked up something like this, but I assume the reason they didn't was probably CAT just wanted too much for a license to produce these at the time. But it is nice to see that a manufacturer has come along and replicated these finally. And I believe the story behind these trucks was that back around 2010, CAT got into it with these companies like Peterbilt and Kenworth because they weren't putting CAT motors in their trucks. So CAT basically said, well, if you're not going to buy our motors and use them, then we're just going to go ahead and start building our own trucks. And that's what they did. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to that story. That's just what I've heard over the years. But ever since I saw one of these trucks on the road, I have wanted one of these in 1/64 scale. And this model here, in my opinion, does not disappoint because, like I mentioned, it's mostly made of die cast. The cabin, better die cast. The frame is die cast. And there's a lot of detail on this too. It's not over the top like DCP, sort of the equivalent to, I guess, Greenlight. But you can see here, we got side view mirrors, exhaust, there's CAT badges all over. You've got rubber tires. There's also, you know, the steps and fuel tanks. I did put the mud flaps on. These just pressed on. There was no need for gluing or anything. And they also have aux body mud flaps. Those were the other ones you could put on this. You can even see the CAT badges on the seats in the interior, and the interior is also detailed, just going out a shot there, but you also got a visor. And the bed does tilt, the gate does open. I'm not going to touch this when it's on the turntable just because it was enough work to try to get this moving as is. But yeah, this is definitely a quality product here, and I am really impressed with this. Before I move on to looking at the roller, I just wanted to show what the dump truck looks like with the dump bed raised. And you can see there is a hydraulic cylinder in at the front, and the back gate on the truck also opens as well. And in case anyone's wondering, the mud flaps, these are made of a hard rubber instead of like a flimsy plastic that would break, because these need to be able to flex because they interfere with the back wheels when the dump bed is raised. The CB-13 roller is another impressive piece, and like the dump truck, it's mostly made of die cast and it's got a high amount of detail. And I was surprised that the rollers themselves are made of die cast and not plastic. I would have thought it'd be the other way around. But, you know, like I said, there's quite a bit of detail on this. You've got the CAT logos, you've got warning labels, there's lights and everything. You even have, I guess, interior detail. I'm not exactly sure I can use that term because it doesn't have a full cab. But you can see on the seat, there's like controls and possibly monitors. And I'd assume the seat itself probably has like air ride suspension, being the roller itself wouldn't have suspension. But I also noticed that on the top of the ROPs looks sort of like a GPS antenna maybe. I'm not sure if they'd have that on a roller. I know like farm equipment with the GPS technology, they can actually program the machines to basically run themselves. I don't know if, you know, something like a road roller would have that kind of technology, or much less even need it. But like I said, this is again another good looking piece, and I'm just impressed with all the details. One comparison I wanted to make was this Diecast Masters roller next to this roller I've had in my collection for a while, and I'm not exactly sure who makes this because it was sort of just a, I don't know, almost a knockoff that I got from Storekeeper Paradise over in Poland quite a few years back. And while this looks impressive, unfortunately it's about as much plastic as it is die cast. And funny enough, if you look on this, you can see the CAT logos in the model on this, yet the word cat or caterpillar is completely absent. I'd assume that was done to get around licensing, so in a way this possibly could be illegal. But you can see here they both have quite a bit of detail, but I'm more impressed again with the Diecast Masters roller because this has a lot more die cast in it, and of course this one actually has the CAT badges, whereas this one, you know, again probably couldn't have it due to the fact these were made without a license. But you know, I still like this roller regardless. It's just it doesn't stand up next to the Diecast Masters one. Another comparison I thought would be interesting to do is to take the Diecast Masters dump truck and put it alongside some other 1/64 scale dump trucks I have here. But this first one is made by Ertl. Now this is a cheap Plastic Fantastic budget truck that they do, and it's almost made entirely of plastic. The only die cast in this is a small portion underneath the cab which holds the front axle in place. And I think that's ridiculous considering you go to a place like Tractor Supply or similar and they want almost $10 for one of these. Not worth that in my opinion. This International Workstar, this is made by Greenlight, and I remember I was really impressed when I first saw these, and I especially like the way the bed tilts. It looks more realistic. Although the only issue with this truck is we're getting back to the whole about as much plastic as die cast. And I can understand why manufacturers do that sometimes, but at the end of the day, I think at $16 for one of these, that seems reasonable. Now, this matte granite here, this is made by First Gear, and I believe I bought this almost 10 years ago now. And I was really impressed with this because it's all die cast again. You know, die-cast cab, die-cast bed, die-cast frame, and the amount of detail it has is over the top. Working steering, opening hood, opening doors, mirrors, grab handles, horns, lights, chrome bumpers, chrome tanks, etc.
But the only downside with these trucks is I believe I paid about $50 when I got this 10 years ago. Nowadays, these granites, they're still being produced, but they're probably closer to $80. And, you know, that's pretty steep. But I think when you take the Diecast Masters CAT dump truck, put this up against all the others here, it does fit in, minus that one. So in all, I can definitely say that I'm really impressed with both of these models, and I would highly recommend, if you can find them, to consider adding them to your 1/64 scale collections. And I know for a fact that I'm going to be going out and getting a few more of the dump truck and maybe 1 or 2 of the cement mixer, because like I've said, I was really excited when I found out somebody was finally making CAT trucks in 1/64 scale after how many years of, you know, waiting for somebody to make that move. But anyways, that's going to be it for this review. Let me know your thoughts on these models down in the comments below. Also, feel free to check out my other pages. There will be links in the description. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.